So Julie, let's give a few tips. We don't give away all your secrets, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about selling a home first, and then we'll talk about buying a home. So when someone's selling a home right now, in today's market, with today's technology, with the resources that are available, what are some of the top 3 or 4 things that you advise sellers to do, to really prep their property and to get it ready to sell quickly for the most amount of money?
Declutter is a common one. Pack
Right.
things up. And I always tell sellers you have to pack up anyway. So
Right.
why not get a head start on it and also help solidify the value of your home while you're doing it. So declutter would be one. I always tell people if as much as I do this every day, if you came to my house, you would notice things that I wouldn't.
Right.
Try to walk by, little by little, and do the touch-ups and paint the frame that you've been missing,
Right.
or the nick in the wall, because buyers are going to be picky.
They're going to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a matter of, to me, what something might seem insignificant, it can show off your home and give the buyer confidence that, wow, this seller really has maintained their home.
Yeah.
If this minor woodwork is in such good shape, I'm sure that the roof and the heating system and all those have been.
Also keeping a log of any improvements you've done to the property over the
Absolutely.
years, I think, is handy.
Always take out permits for work that you do. People are going to come back and check that. But people want to know, what have you done in the home? And there's obviously a difference for someone who's lived there for 25 years and someone who's only been there for 5.
Right. Now, I know obviously curb appeal is very important. How the property looks from the outside. People who first drive up, they already have an impression
Right.
as to whether or not this is the type of home they're interested in.
Right.
From the landscaping to how neat things are in the yard, if there's clutter in the yard, all those kind of things. And believe it or not, you know this. Some people won't even go into the home.
Right. They'll do a
If you
drive-by.
drive by,
Most
say, I'm
buyers
not
will do
interested.
drive-bys before they'll schedule a showing.
Right.
One, to check out the neighborhood and whatnot, but, in a time where people are busier, they're working more, and we've learned from the fall of the market a few years ago to be a little tighter with money. If they see, yard work, and there might be one buyer who says, you know what, I want to spend 3 hours lost in my yard every
Right.
Saturday, and another buyer who says, I can't. I coach soccer, I have
Right.
all these other obligations. So if they see a yard that is not maintained, it's not like you just come in and keep up the routine of what's been going on. They feel like they're starting a new project in addition to any other work they'd want to do in this new house, on top of moving, if the kids are changing schools. So what might not seem insignificant, a seller might say, well, it's just weeds, or it's just overgrown bushes, that some buyer can do it.
No such thing as just.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, there's an very interesting point too, Julie, and that is, I know you advise your sellers to disclose everything because buyer's going to find out.
Absolutely.
If the disposal is not working properly,
Right.
or they're going to have a home inspection.
Right.
So, you might as well address all these issues ahead of time.
Sure.
Take care of it so that the property is in as pristine condition as possible, because it's going to have to sell it faster.
Right. Well, and plus, again, the buyer is going to find out, and if it wasn't disclosed, it leaves the thought, well, why wasn't it, and what else has gone wrong? And that one issue, which might be a minor issue, could then leave the impression that it is connected to potential other issues. So it's just better to nip it in the bud from the beginning and put it all on the table, as I always say.
So, Julie, these things change, from community to community and, time to time. And that is when, what type of features, seem to be helping the property sell these days. In Florida, if you don't have a swimming pool, guess what? You're not going to sell your home.
Yeah.
Here, if you have a swimming pool, it might be a deterrent. Right?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that seem to be right now to be adding benefit or adding value to the property that sellers should be aware of to know that these are the kind of features that a buyer is looking for?
Sure. Well, the one that will always remain true is location.
Right.
But people tend to like the open floor plan, but we are seeing a lot more of mom and dad now moving back in with the kids. So living area flexibility, or room for them to make adjustments. So that's where the staging comes in, to say, here's the open space, here's what it could be used for, but then the buyer has imagination for their own. And people want to see that the property's been maintained. You don't have to have a brand new roof, but if it's been leaking into the bedroom for the past 5 years, they want to know that that's been addressed.
Yes.
So pride of ownership will never go out of style. People want to see that. They want to see the open floor plan, and they want to see the good features. The affordability index has increased, so buyers can afford more, and in a sense have been able to be pickier. So if there's something a seller realizes needs to be done, and it's within their financial and physical capabilities to do it anyway, do it. And it's all going to go into securing marketability of the house. But I tell people all the time, you know, before you spend money in your home, call me. I'm happy
Right.
to come over and say, you know, take a walk through. And there's oftentimes people say, well, I have these 10 things I know have to be done. And sometimes, you know, a lot of times I'll agree with them and say, definitely go for it. Here's some resources to help you. And sometimes I'll say, don't spend your money there.
Right.
It's not worth it. You know, it's not necessary because it's a cosmetic preference. That may not be the mainstream preference. So, you know, that's another thing. When you say, John, what are the features they're looking for? A lot of homes, as much as we like to make them marketable, they have their uniqueness that's going to be appealing.
Right.
And that's why if I can come over ahead of time, I can say, show these things off, don't worry about this. I had sellers that, it's actually a property in Norton, and they had me come over a year ahead of time. And
Wow.
I gave them, as a teacher,
Wow.
I said, here's your homework. And the woman who I love very much said, I said, you're going to curse me all summer, which she did. But you know what? They did everything I asked them to do, and in a market where the average market time was 150 days, their home was under agreement in 24.
Wow.
So,
Well, there we go.
you know,
Numbers
I mean,
never lie, is
they
it?
do,
Yeah.
they do. And the stuff that you can do to make your home ready, it's not just my opinion, it's documented. It's thousands of homes have been looked at, and you know, through your help studying all the numbers and the research to make a seller's home where it should be.